Hello everybody and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself George and I'm delighted to bring you a spoiler-free review on the new film directed by Matt Reeves, starring Rob Pattinson. You know what film this is. This is of course The Batman. One of the most anticipated films, not just of this year, but also technically 2020 and 2021 before there were delays and all that kind of stuff. So it's been a long time coming. And at the time of this video going up, this is the week of release. You're all going to finally be able to see this for yourselves as well. There are American screenings on the 1st of March, UK early screenings on the 3rd of March, and then it's set for a wide release this Friday the 4th of March. And you really need to make a cinema trip for this one because I'm about to go into a few details for you, and I do want to reiterate, but really get going on this. This is a spoiler-free review. There will be no spoilers from me at all. You should all go into this with a clean experience. If you really want the pristine experience of knowing nothing, if you've avoided most of the trailers or if you've avoided clips, honestly, don't watch the review. Go in as cold as you can because I do fear that a lot of people will be dropping spoilers online just for clout, as they always seem to do these days. But there are going to be no spoilers on this video, so it is very much a safe space for you to be involved in this. And if you are new to the channel, I want to hear from you. Comment below your thoughts on The Batman. Are you looking forward to seeing this film? Are you watching in the future? Did you enjoy this film? Please don't drop any spoilers. I will be deleting any that do pop up. And it's going to be really exciting to finally be able to talk about this. I've been very fortunate enough to be involved at the press screening in London last week. A lot of other people there, a lot of writers, journalists, a lot of other YouTubers as well. It was a really nice day being able to chat amongst everyone. Neil, that you've seen on this channel before, was there as well, alongside the other Neil that's also been on the channel. And yeah, it was a very exciting atmosphere to really get into. And just before I start to talk about the specifics of the film, I'm going to bring up our social medias as well. Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. When we've got videos coming up, we do like to announce them on there. So if you're going to enjoy this video, I hope you enjoy this video, enjoy this review, whatever, do follow us on there. It's the best way to find out what is coming up. And of course, you know, this is being pre-recorded. This isn't a live review. And because it's spoilers, you don't want to drop anything. There's going to be no spoilers from me, but you don't want to drop anything on a spoiler review anyway. But there's going to be a spoiler review. There's going to be a spoiler review this Sunday, the 6th of March. We've got a great panel lined up to talk about that one. I'd have seen it a few more times as well by then, like many others. So if you do want to get into that nitty-gritty discussion this Sunday, the 6th, that will be live on the channel at a time TBC. But it's finally, it's been over 2 minutes. It's time to get into this now. Let's talk The Batman. So I'm going to rewind the clock. I'm not going to talk about my history. I'm not going to talk about the Nolan films. I'm not going to talk about the Keaton films or the DCE, all that kind of stuff. I really want to begin this talking about Matt Reeves. Now, I think Matt Reeves is a very underrated filmmaker. I think he's a filmmaker that isn't a household name, that should be a household name. And I think after this film, he is going to be one. How long he's worked on this film, I think since 2017-18. Of course, he had War for Planet of the Apes as well, which is phenomenal. And yeah, as a massive fan of those Apes films, it was amazing to see him get announced for a Batman project. Obviously, at the time, it was to be with Affleck. And obviously thus it's then become a reboot, a separate universe. This is the Batverse, they're calling it now. No ties to the DCEU, which I thoroughly agree with as well. And I'll try and get a little bit of that today, maybe more in the spoiler one. But I was so excited to see Matt Reeves get his chance with Batman. And even with COVID, with lockdown, the first DC Fandom was the first time we really got to hear him talking about the film. And he went on stage before dropping that incredible trailer. And he just spoke for 10 minutes straight about the character, about Gotham and what he wanted his world to be, what he wanted the take to be. And just listening to him was amazing as a fan of the character, of the comics, of the other films. We were getting someone coming on board that is really excited to do that. And some people will be, oh, they have to sell it for PR. This was genuine. This was going into the real finite stuff. And I've been on the hype train ever since. Like, the trailer looked amazing. I saw the second trailer as well. Also down for that. The casting, I'll get into some of those as well, but there's not one person that's been miscast for this film. There's no missed opportunities. There's no obvious, I hate them with obvious people, but you know, sometimes for certain roles it's obvious X, Y, and Z could be them. There was none of that. None of the fan casting stuff really needed to be a thing. Instead, we got Rob Pattinson's Batman, who I will talk about in a little bit more detail. But heading back to Matt Reeves, before I even get into, you know, talking about the characters and the performances from the actors, I really want to talk about Gotham City, because when you get the discussion with Gotham, it's always a really fascinating conversation. You get some people that, you know, I love the Dark Knight trilogy. It's very much Chicago. You've got a bit of New York in there. You've got, I think, is it Pennsylvania or Philadelphia in Dark Knight Rises. And it's very much real world locations. And with the Keaton ones, it's a Tim Burton world, right? And the identity of Gotham City is very tough to do, because you can go for real world, you can go for so fictional, you know, even looking at the Schumacher films, that Gotham, I adore that world. and it's a fictional city, and sometimes you don't want it to be real. And what's really taken back for me for this film was the city, the design of the city, the people in the city, and a lot of people are going to make comparisons to the Arkham game over the next week or so, and I think that's absolutely valid. The design of Gotham stands out so much by itself. It feels like somebody has actually gone out, created a fictional map. Obviously he's got real buildings in there. I think the Tower from Liverpool's in there, Chicago Tribune building's in there, and a few others. But you never spend enough time at a single location to sit there and say, we're in Liverpool, we're in Chicago. And the skyline, using the Mandalorian technology as well, they spoke about that. We've got Greg Fraser on cinematography, who I'll speak about in a bit. They were able to design their own Gotham City skyline. And you just sit in the trailers and it looks amazing. And I've really got a kickstart review of this. Building this Batverse, they're calling it. They have done the perfect introductory, which is getting the location, getting the city right, the vibe, the people in the streets, the grit on the buildings, how worn down are they? Are they posh and really up themselves? And once you get the city design right, it's then time to put the people in it. And talking about the people, you've got to talk about Rob Pattinson himself. Now, I've been a massive fan of Rob Pattinson. There's a video on that from a few weeks ago. I spoke about some of his films he's done, even post-Twilight. And you know what? I don't even dislike Twilight that much. I've seen the first three. I've not seen the last ones though, but I even liked him in Harry Potter as well. And I think Rob Pattinson's been a very, very underrated actor. And Matt Reeves has spoken so well about him. And even Matt Reeves has said, if you were worried about his casting, it showed that you hadn't seen any films of his post Twilight, which is a really interesting take because it's quite ballsy for a director to say that. And I'm inclined to agree with him. And getting into Rob Pattinson's performance in this, he is amazing as Batman. And I very much watched this film. I think he is Batman, and it's so easy. So I say the same about Keaton. I say the same about Christian Bale, Kevin Conroy, all the people that played it before. You get these definitive performances, but Rob Pattinson, I feel, is the Batman. I feel that Matt Reeves has crafted the perfect Gotham City, and we have the definitive Batman now sitting in there. At no point do I sit there thinking, oh, this is an A-lister just playing this role, which I felt a little bit of Clooney in those films. I don't think it's Clooney's fault actually in that film, but Rob Pattinson in this, he has dedicated himself to the performance, to the on-screen, to the direction, to the ensemble, everyone he interacts with, he has fantastic chemistry with, and he's a character you love spending time with him. And even with the Batman himself, to dual identity, can he do Bruce Wayne, can he do the Batman? I don't mind saying that we do get a lot more Batman in this than we do of Bruce Wayne. I think that's something a lot of people had spoke about in the past, that maybe the Nolan films did too much of the Bruce Wayne. I don't think you can do a bad take. It is obviously the character of Batman is that Bruce Wayne essentially is dead, and that Batman is the real character, and Bruce Wayne is his fake identity. And with this film, we get so much time with Rob Pattinson in the suit, in the cowl, and it's just amazing spending time with him, seeing this sort of dedication to this character, to this person, and even that clashes with his ideals. We have Andy Serkis as Alfred, playing a very different take on Alfred, much more like Sean Pertwee in Gotham than any of the other ones we've seen before. And Andy Serkis, obviously with his history with Matt Reeves as well, he's going to be quality in this. And it's a really interesting relationship they set up and develop across this film. And obviously this film is almost 3 hours, I'm going to add as well. And it does not feel like it is a 3 hour film. That is a credit. We have this ensemble. We're able to see relationships develop and nurture with all the characters. We never feel like we get too much of one and too little of another. They balance the cast really well, and that's why I've never minded long films. And when it's establishing a new Batman universe, we're going to get a Penguin TV series. We're going to get a spin-off about cops from Gotham. I completely understand why they want to, spend a bit more time on this. And I've just got to say that if the casting of Pattinson doesn't work, if you get your main character wrong, the film isn't going to function. And on a side note, how happy are we that Armie Hammer was not cast as Batman? Can you imagine? He was down to the final 3 as rumoured, but can you imagine the PR storm of the last year or two that had, a cannibal had been Batman? I don't know, but Robert Pattinson, amazing performance, and even performance-wise to the press, how he's marketed this film has been such a delight to see in the character. He really cares. He spoke about Batman Doesn't Kill. He was listing I think he put Phantasm as his favourite film. He was listing comics as well. He's an absolute credit to this film, to the ensemble. And I keep saying ensemble, we're going to move on to some of the other characters. We've got Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman, Selena Kyle, who is amazing. She absolutely controls the film from the moment we see her. There's a very nuanced performance in there, and she's a character that is very mysterious. And with this film, so many people describe it as a noir film. She does have a place in that. She's a very mysterious character, very enigmatic. We want to know, what's her end game, what's her goal, what's her history, and seeing her relationship form with Batman across this film is amazing. And Zoe Kravitz's chemistry with Pattinson's undeniable. They've been like this on the press tour with each other, but those two performances are absolutely solid. And I'll speak about some of the action stuff later, but I just want to really quickly as well bring on Paul Dano as Riddler. If you've not seen Paul Dano anything, you know that he's a very, very interesting actor. Some of the roles he takes are not normal roles. They are very twisted individuals, and his take on the Riddler is absolutely going to stand the test of time. He is a psychotic nutcase, and if you're going to pick an actor, you want him to play it, because we've seen him do it before. But even in this film, it's rated 15 here in the UK. It's, I think, PG-13 in America. The violence we see from him, if you're going in to expect the Jim Carrey Riddler, you're definitely not going to get it. But what you are going to get is something else, something different, something we've not seen before in a Batman film, and that is the essence of the film. We essentially have a murder film. It is a murder mystery. It's Batman solving a case, and this case is going to exaggerate, things happen, and it's something we've never really seen before. We've never seen the detective side. Of course, we're going to get action set pieces. We're going to get these fantastic moments. We're going to get a Batmobile. We're going to get chase. We're going to get hand-to-hand combat fighting. But I've never felt like Batman has been solving a mystery for an entire film. And again, that goes down to Matt Reeves, the credit he has for designing this, and his take on the Riddler as well. Very, he could have been sitting there doing riddles, doing jokes. We do get what you expect from the character, but it is not this comedic take, and I think that would have completely lost the viewer if it had done that. And that goes for this film as well. Every decision seems to have been perfectly done. I really don't have many flaws to say on this film, and it's annoying that I can't say there are flaws, because I wouldn't say it's a perfect film. But it's pretty much a perfect film as far as I'm concerned. I've only seen it once, so dropping that word is very, very easy to say. I will be seeing this a few more times, but sort of where it stands, I spoke about the tone of the murders. I even spoke about Seven a few weeks ago. It's disgusting watching this film. And that's what's amazing about it. You are uncomfortable at some of the things you're seeing. How are you going to stop this sadistic murderer? It's not this, charismatic fun thing. It's an environment that has been crafted that is very tough to watch, tough to be involved in, and for the cops, for the characters, it's we've got the criminal underworld of Gotham, which I think is something that never really got explored until Batman Begins. And even in this film, we have Falcone in this, played by, oh god, I forgot his name, who's Jesus from Big Lebowski, Simmons in all the Transformers films. I'll put an edit to say I'll correct that, but seeing his take on Falcone, I absolutely adore. He reminds me of Adam Sandler, and I'm not saying that in a bad way. He's got this proper New York accent for it. He's in these suits, and it's someone that could go over the top and never does go over the top, and it reminded me a lot of Uncut Gems. And as well as this, I've got to talk about Colin Farrell as the Penguin. I almost said he steals the film. I wouldn't say he steals it, but what Colin Farrell does in the scenes he has, he creates one of the funnest characters to be involved in. Every time he pops up on screen, he's so over the top. A lot of people were quoting the Daredevil deleted scene from 2003 of him at the airport. This trumps that scene. This is incredible. And when I was watching it, all I could think of is Robert De Niro. It looks like he's channeling some Robert De Niro over the top comedy, but back in Robert De Niro's heyday. Obviously he doesn't look like Robert De Niro, but it's that proper over the top New York Italian accent, the face design, the fact he's a gangster, he ain't no rat, all the kind of quotes you'd expect from a character like that. And we even see him waddle in a scene, which is amazing. And it's all these little moments. And if there is going to be a Penguin series, I'll speak about it in the spoiler review, but I'm absolutely here for it with Colin Farrell. I know he spoke on the news saying he wished he could have had a cigar or something. I would have loved something like that, but the Penguin's amazing from the scenes we get of him. But obviously the core of the story is the Riddler. And some people might think, are they juggling too many villains? They absolutely are not juggling too many villains. Everyone has a reason to be here. There is no one that ever commands screen too much. We don't get too much of any character. Everyone is on for the right amount of screen time. That is a credit to the screenplay, to the story, to the performances. And I've got to talk about the music too. Michael Giacchino is without a doubt one of the best working composers today. His history speaks for himself, and if you're curious about what his work rate's like, he did Spider-Man in December, Batman in March, he's doing Jurassic Park in June, he's doing Thor in July, he's doing Lightyear in June. That's like 5 scores in the space of 7 or 8 months, which is insane. And he'll probably do more later this year. And if you want to know what his score is, obviously there's a few songs online you can listen to, but it's very much a noir score. The Batman theme itself I absolutely adore. It's not trying to be over the top. It's not. I don't feel I have Michael Giacchino's personality on the film, which is great because it stands in with this new Batman universe, and his work with Matt Reeves was phenomenal on the Apes films as well. But the Giacchino score is online now for people to see, to listen to. Personally, if you haven't seen the film, don't listen to the score until you've seen the film. Obviously, all the titles are puns, as they always are, but if you want to go in completely clean, honestly, do not listen to the score. But as soon as you have, you're going to fall in love with it. It is another highlight of the film, and you know, when you've got something like Gotham City, which I keep going back to, the design of Gotham, the world, it really sells it that you have a score to go with the visuals. And talking about the visuals, we've really got to talk about Greg Fraser on cinematography. This film is shot superb. You know, when you've got films shot at night, late at night, misty, rain, all that kind of stuff, it's really easy to have a very formulaic, boring structure. I think Batman Begins had superb cinematography when we got that underbelly stuff, but this feels like the best moments of Batman Begins for 3 hours straight. And so much goes to the score. We get, sorry, not the score, the cinematography. You know, when we've got Batman jumping off rooftops and the action, choreography of the action, shooting of the action, we get to see everything in frame. Whereas sometimes things can be so meticulously crafted, you lose things, it looks so obvious, it's choreographed, but everything feels natural, and it's the way the film's shot, it's the way the music is, it's the way it's written, and those performances, everything's coming together. And as I approach the end of this review, I'm not going to talk about, you know, is there going to be a sequel? I'm 1,000,000% sure there's going to be a sequel announced by this time next week, just like the June 2 opening weekend. But honestly, I've seen this film once, and I feel that we have the definitive Batman film. We have a definitive Batman performance and the best designed Gotham that there's ever been on screen. And it's so easy and hard to say after one viewing, but coming out of that screen and the buzz, the excitement, maybe it's in my head, but truly watching that, I feel there's going to be so much more taken on the second viewing. And I'm so excited to go and see it again this Thursday at the screenings, because this film is an experience. There will be reasons to go back and see it again. You're going to pick up some more things. You're going to see things that, oh, how did this get there? And there's probably going to be so many little things in the build-up that I'd love to have seen again before doing this spoiler-free review. But that is wrapping up my thoughts. I really can't say too much more about it. It is a phenomenal piece of filmmaking. Do go and see this. I was lucky to be at the IMAX screening. See on the IMAX form. I always speak about IMAX. Greg Fraser shoots on IMAX so well, and these scenes in this are no exception. So everybody at home, go and see this film. This is easily my film of the year so far, and I'm really struggling to see if any film is going to be able to top it for me. It is exactly what we needed from a Batman film. It stands by itself. It's not ripping off any other version. We have something new, something exciting, and nothing but applause for every single person involved in the production of this film. It is absolutely incredible. And I can't wait to give some second thoughts later on down the line, because there is a lot to say. There's a lot more to say. I've been going almost 20 minutes, and this is a spoiler-free review. So this Sunday, the 6th of March, there's going to be a spoiler discussion. We're going to go through the film, go through the characters. If there's anybody I've missed today, I will pick that up. We'll make sure they've got segments as well. We'll be able to talk about some of the other characters I can't bring up for very obvious reasons. And it's going to be exciting to see how you all react to this at home. So please do comment your thoughts on the Batman. Please hit that subscribe button as well. If you've enjoyed this video, you know, the opportunities of covering these films, we've got a lot of other Batman discussions. We've got a great one of Really 007 from last week. We've got Neil from Get Your Comic Con jumping on a few tier lists, and this isn't the only Batman film coming out this year. We've got The Flash starring Michael Keaton and Ben Affleck, which is going to be an experience, to put it lightly. So if you're a fan of DC, do hit that subscribe button. A lot more stuff on the way. And there may be 1 or 2 more Batman videos after the spoiler discussion, which, if we're going to announce them, they'll be on social media. That is Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. A link to TeePublic in that description below. And once again, thank you all for watching at home. Take care, enjoy this film, go and see it, have an amazing time, and let me know your thoughts after, and I cannot wait to see you on the next one. Take care.